Hey, everybody! Yes! It's another episode of Superhero Roundup live on SourceFedNERD. I'm Matt Lieberman.
I'm Sam.
I'm DJ Wooldridge. Thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Obama. And hey, guys, if you're watching live, hello. We can see you in the chat, and we'll be talking to you. You can tweet at us using the hashtag #SHRoundup, and this show is available on iTunes as an audio podcast. Okay, so first things first, we're going to give out our Twitter handles. You can find me at Matt Lieberman. That's MattLieberman.
You can find me, Sam Basher, at Sam Basher, SAMBASHOR.
And you can find me at DJ Talks Trash, spelled like it sounds.
Hooray! If you are listening to this on iTunes, this show gets posted usually every Thursday. Today on Friday, because we're reviewing Avengers Age of Ultron. Yay. If you've never been to this show before, we review all the comic book TV shows on TV, all the superhero TV shows, talk about news and gossip. DJ gives his comics pull list, and also if there's a movie out at the cinema that's a superhero movie, we'll be talking about it. And folks, if you've never seen our show on iTunes, if you've never gone and seen the audio podcast, if you support this show, you should go there, go to iTunes, rate and review the show. We love 5-star ratings. It really helps us out. It helps it get visible. It helps people find it, and that brings more people to the channel. And don't you want that? I think that you do. So today, we're going to be talking about the Season 1 finale of Powers. We're going to be talking about Flash. We're going to be talking about Arrow. We're going to be talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And, of course, we'll be talking about Avengers Age of Ultron.
We're going to do Avengers Age of Ultron, literally the very last.
The very last thing that we're going to do. So we're going to do all the news and DJ's pull list before we do Avengers Age of Ultron, because we're going to do it first like a very kind of spoiler-free general thoughts, and then we're going to really get into the movie. So if you haven't seen it, that would be the time to turn off this video or turn off this podcast and come back to it later.
And if you turn it off, then go see it, come back.
Yeah.
Let's see what we have to say.
Every week we do a question of the day, and I think today's question is, what did you think of Avengers Age of Ultron? Share your thoughts with us at the hashtag #SHRoundup. Let's start right away by talking about the Season 1 finale of Powers, which DJ and I both watched.
And I saw a total of 4 minutes.
Yes, 4 minutes of it.
What did you think of those 4 minutes?
But people are saying No I Zombie, Andy Kaufman, and Jen Martinez in the chat. Unfortunately, just because we want to give Avengers its due, we don't have time. So we'll talk about it next week.
Still a really good episode. Not as good as the last couple, but still really good. I really like why that show's doing.
Oh, I thought it was one of my favorite episodes. I loved the fact that he ate the gay brain.
Yeah, no, that was a great
that was
gag.
hilarious.
That was really clever.
Gag.
Really clever.
I would also like to point out that even though we didn't need to talk about it, we all watched it anyway.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign for that show.
Yes. So Powers Season 1 finale was all right. I thought the first half of it was actually really well done.
When they were taking down Wolf?
Yes.
I like that. Again, these last 2 episodes, my only real issues is the effects. Everything else I'm kind of down with.
Yeah, the storyline has finally reached an interesting place.
Yeah.
We finally understand everyone's motivations.
Yeah.
There's no more world building. Now we're finally just doing, which is great. And
Sucks for the finale, though.
Yeah. The sequence when Wolf's out on the street kind of like seeking all of the Powers kids, and they're following him. They're trying to set up the perfect trap. I thought that was really, really well executed. The ending kind of left me cold with Callista and everything.
Now, you and I had 2 different interpretations of the ending.
Yeah.
They're doing everything they can to take down Wolf. Really cool joining of Johnny Royale, Retro Girl, Diamond, working together to Dina Pilgrim to take him down. They do that, but before that happens, it looks like he transports his powers to Callista.
Yeah, he gives his powers to Callista.
And then, so when I saw at the end, Callista gets up on a roof, jumps off, is able to fly, and then you see that Retro Girl's been murdered. I interpreted that as Callista murdered Retro Girl, took her powers.
See, I think it can't be that cut and dry. So the most well-known and popular Powers arc is Who Killed Retro Girl.
It's the first arc. It's the first
arc, and it'll be the second arc on this show. And I feel like, I hope that it's not that Callista killed Retro Girl, and I'll tell you why. Because it will be incredibly boring
if we
already know who won, and we're watching our heroes solve a mystery that the audience already knows the answer to for 10 episodes. That sounds horrible.
That's a good point.
Think you'll get a second season?
That's a good question. I mean, what is PlayStation's metric?
I don't know. That hasn't been released. Brian Michael Bendis, in an interview recently, was very optimistic.
Okay.
And he said that the only things that he's been hearing from Sony have been incredibly positive, that the people who find the show like the show, and that PlayStation subscribers, even if they don't watch it, they're like, hey, cool, free show. This is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you getting money from?
I don't know. Overall, I think it was a solid episode. Again, I like that the show seemed to acknowledge that Johnny Royale is its best character.
Yeah.
And I like that character, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like that he's now a hero in the eyes of everybody.
Yep.
That's the other. Oh no! Now I get why you think that about killing Retro Girl, because Chaotic Chic is painted
Chaotic
next
Chic,
to her.
and it just feels like a red herring, and I don't know.
See, I feel like she's still pissed enough at Crispin and his little floozy girlfriend, who's bonkers, by the way, that she would frame them for this crime.
No.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, if it does come back, I look forward to seeing what they can do potentially with a larger budget and more focus.
With just more effectively used effects.
Yes.
Or
used.
less.
Yeah.
Maybe less. Like
I saw
don't need them.
I saw It Follows this weekend, and it did a very effective job with little to no CGI.
There was one scene really where they
And
used
and it was one of the weaker scenes in the movie,
Yeah.
but overall it was really good. Anyway.
Good.
Oh, Sam has a point.
Sam has a point.
They're asking if I need to have a point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam has a point.
Before
welcome
we
point.
move on, I just want to read a quick tweet from Bo Watson at WatsonBo. This is my first live #SH Roundup. I can't normally watch them live in Australia, but today I can, and I'm super stoked. Well, thank you so much for watching. Awesomeness Hippopotamus writes in the chat, I dropped powers after episode 2. Is it worth it?
Ew.
If you have time. I
Yeah.
wouldn't watch it over another
No,
show.
Hold on. If you have time, go outside. don't
Every
do that.
time, go outside.
There's my point.
That's
Okay.
Sam's point. Nice.
Sam has a point.
Andre Carr writes, nice point, Sam.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Great words by Sam.
Let's talk about our next program.
Yeah, let's go on to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think this is the best episode of the show ever.
Holy
It was a
crap.
great episode.
Where's this show been? Where's this Agents of
Without
S.H.I.E.L.D. been?
spoilers, great tie-in to Avengers.
Yeah, subtle.
Great. That was awesome.
And subtle.
And subtle.
subtle.
It was like it completely like worked and like built out like this like thing for the TV watchers, but like it wasn't like I don't know. It wasn't like hitting you over
It's
the head
kind of
with
like
it.
how with Doctor Who, sometimes they'll post to YouTube like these prologue scenes or prequel scenes to episodes, and it felt kind of like that, where it doesn't really necessarily add too much to the story, but it does give you a little extra context, and it gives you a little fun, like spot the people in the movie.
Yeah, I think this episode, I think the big draw to this episode is that they bring back the original cast, and it's fascinating how much more interesting these people are a year and a half, almost 2 years later.
I have been waiting for this like since the first episode because I was waiting like after the first episode I was like okay there's a team here, we're obviously supposed to like the team, but at the end of the first season I still like with the remaining team I didn't care. I didn't care. That never felt like they had any connections or anything, but in this episode with like their collective hate and distaste for Ward, and like Ward also trying to connect with him. You're like, hey, we're trying to move past it. Like, no, that's not how it works.
I want to read a comment from the chat. Rebecca Targaryen, but spelled differently from how it is in the Game of Thrones series. She felt that the Avengers stuff did kind of hit her over the head.
Aww.
A little bit of a disagreement with us. Earl Grey at HyperX on Twitter writes, Sky's fight scene rivaled Daredevil's fight scene.
It did.
Yes.
It actually made me wonder if they got to look at Daredevil early and look. Guys, we gotta
pick this
step it up because two parts with Sky. Sky's finally like cool. Like I ditch the Sky name, become Daisy Johnson, and I'm in.
They said it last time, right?
She uses she found out her last name. She uses her powers in a cool and effective way, and then that single take with that whole intricate gunfight was amazing.
Hold up, time out. Where in the world did she learn that? When
She's
did she learn?
She's been training.
Okay, we can say like, oh, she's been training, but no, that is impressive. That's years. That's years.
She's been training
of skill.
with May.
Yeah, Melinda's her SO.
It is funny that
No,
of the people that get the best fight scenes in the
but
show,
no.
the person that get the best fight scene in the entire show is not May.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not Coulson.
It's Sky.
It's Sky. Also,
The
by the way,
noob.
Kevin Tantron. I can't pronounce
Kevin
it.
Tantron
directed this episode.
Yeah.
He did.
And
He directs the best episodes
he
of this
directs
show.
the best episodes. He also did that Mortal Kombat web series. And honestly, if he's not on Marvel's shortlist to showrun Iron Fist, they're doing things wrong.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Because one of the big arcs of Matt Fraction's Iron Fist run is basically a tournament like Mortal Kombat.
Oh, that's cool.
So this guy, he gets it, and he's a solid director, and I think he'd be great.
And honestly, I love shows that are run by directors. Banshee is a great example of this, where Greg Yaitanes he directs a good portion of the show, he runs the show, and he is very, very focused on giving a deep viewer experience and a very well-established aesthetic, and it's all about high-quality fight scenes, high-quality drama.
What did you guys think of the Gemma wanting to kill Ward
this
thing?
pissed me off so much.
Really?
They have ruined this character. She's a psychopath. I'm sorry. Gemma Simmons used to be my favorite character on this show, and then she was a super paranoid nutcase about powers. All powered people should die, like they're monsters, they should be cured, and now she wants to straight up murder Ward? What happened to you? Oh my God.
Ward tried to murder her. And she was undercover with Hydra a lot. Maybe she got a little there crazy.
I don't know. At the top of this season, she still seemed
Actually, she is a psychopath because she didn't get a gun. She got a disintegrating bomb. Thing.
I wonder if the guy that plays Bakshi when he's reading the script, about halfway through, he was like, "Oh shit, I'm dead." Because the second she was like, "I'm going to kill Ward," no, you're not.
No,
I mean,
you're not.
maybe, but probably not.
I like Bakshi.
Yeah. But once they introduce that little disintegrator bomb, it's like it's going to go in somebody. Probably not Ward.
Probably Bakshi.
Yeah, if I was a guy playing Bakshi, I'd be like, shit.
I like that actor. I like the character a lot.
Yeah.
I thought he was so interesting, and with the brainwashing thing, like him being obedient, I thought he kind of turned, but no, he's still like obedient. That was so cool. And now they don't have that character anymore.
Nope. But these last two episodes have really restored my. I think you brought it up. It's like right when a big Marvel movie's coming out, S.H.I.E.L.D. really picks up.
What in the world happens? Like all their money just gets like, oh my God,
the crash sequence.
The crash,
Where'd they get the money for that? Where's that been?
They saved it by not doing cool shit all season.
No. Okay, we have to.
Or in the second half of the season.
Yeah, because like the first half, like at least you and I were like, yeah, this show's great, and then like they kind of flood with the other S.H.I.E.L.D. nonsense, but like, so that crash scene was so cool.
It was insane.
And this was the funniest episode they've had in a while.
Yeah.
It was like classic Whedon.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Luke Skywalker at Luke Skywalker on Twitter. On S.H.I.E.L.D., how great has Cal gotten? Am I right?
Cal's always been great.
Cal's always been great. I do like the evolution of his character.
Yeah, I'd like to shout out to / Grigsby, who likes my beard.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Shout out to Jonathan Alvarez for complimenting my jeans, saying
and
pull them off.
Swader12 says the CGI was dope this episode.
Yes.
And it was.
Yeah.
I would really like Powers to use the same studio that S.H.I.E.L.D. uses.
They cannot afford them.
They cannot afford them. They do not have the budget.
PlayStation.
They do not have the budget. Yeah, I love the scene in the bus where Ward was like, I want to call out the elephant in the room. And it's like, yeah, the entire team hasn't been in the same room all season.
Yeah.
And they are so radically different. I hated that he went off by himself at the end and left Agent 33 there. I like them together.
Agent 33 has to be a sleeper agent. He's basically set a bomb in their base, and it's Agent 33.
I kind of like that he's not trying to. He's kind of trying to redeem himself a little bit. I like
in
that
his own twisted weird way.
In his weird way, and like he's actually doing one thing good. If she's good. Like, I mean, the sleeper agent aspect is fun.
Yeah.
But if she's good, I'm okay with that.
Deadhood94 in the chat writes, real S.H.I.E.L.D., more like real pretentious S.H.I.E.L.D. Am I right?
Yes, he is. Also, we'll talk more about this in Avengers Age of Ultron, but is it weird to anybody else that one of the best villains in the whole MCU is Ward?
Yes. I would agree with that. He's... The more cool, like, dark shit they give him to do, the more complicated they make him, the more I like the character.
Yeah.
And it shows why they cast him in the first place. Everyone complained he was, like, too pretty to be an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever. The guy's a very solid actor.
Yeah,
no, they are way too pretty.
Him evil is great.
Wait, what? Did he start bringing up he's brought up his family? Again, he's like, I should talk about, like, that was a family. He's like, we all have, like, horrible things. It just, the characters made sense. Like, they made logical decisions besides Gemma, like...
Yeah,
it was great.
Also, top Hydra guy that Bakshi was meeting with showed up in Age of Ultron in the Age of Ultron movie.
Yeah, Mr. List.
Yeah,
he was in the post-credit scene for Captain America with the twins.
Oh.
He was there with Strucker, which was cool because I was like, why do I recognize him? I looked it up. Yeah.
Well, never mind. We'll talk more about it.
Another tweet from Izzy and not quite Izzy. I was laughing at how intense Simmons was. Pretty sure that's not the effect that they wanted. She was real intense
because she wanted to. She was all not. happy about Sky and Powers, and she hates Powers people now. And
Yeah.
she's got a lot of aggression.
I'm surprised that Ward didn't straight up tell Coulson, oh yeah, by the way, Simmons tried to murder me, and she straight up murdered Bakshi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
S.H.I.E.L.D. can't be cool with that. S.H.I.E.L.D. can't be cool with it. Like,
What,
they're
which
bad guys,
S.H.I.E.L.D.?
but like, huh?
Which S.H.I.E.L.D.?
What is Theta Protocol?
It
The
sounded like the
Avengers.
Avengers. So I guess Coulson was doing something to help. Maybe.
Wait, we saw the Avengers.
is-
We'll come back around to that.
We'll come back
but, like,
around to it.
I didn't
Stay
see-
tuned.
We didn't.
We'll
what did
return
he-
to this topic
Yeah.
at Avengers Age of Ultron.
Yeah, the Avengers will return
And
at the end of this episode.
So, should we? Can we move on to Flash?
Yeah, we have to.
Let's move on to Flash real quick. Not real quick, actually. Let's sit on this episode because it's been the great. It was a great episode.
We had two
Great.
stinkers. You brought it back.
We brought
great.
back, and again, talking about complicated villains, the Arrow and Flash, the way they handle their season-long big bads and the relationships they have with the hero are so interesting and so complicated. You think about Wells / Reverse Flash. You think about Merlin. You think about Slade. Like some of their one-off villains are not
the greatest.
but their season-long villains are very interesting. And I think this was the best Harrison Wells episode.
Man,
so far.
that monologue when he's talking to Coma Berry, he's just like,
Yeah, I think the best
can
scene of the
kill
entire
you.
show so far is that last scene where we're talking to Barry and Coleman. He's kind of like, what I wouldn't have given to have you in this position, and now I need you.
and now I need you. He's like, I watched you grow up. I watched you do soccer practices, and like, you are not the man that I know you to be.
And so
like,
it makes you wonder, what did Flash do to make Eobard hate him so much?
It's a good question.
He brought up that I'll get you back for what you did to me, and like in the comics,
And maybe it just means beating him a lot. Or his goals.
Is it fair?
I don't know.
I kind of bring up something about the comics. Is that spoiler?
Andre Fernandez says Daredevil is better than Flash, and I would say at moments, but not overall.
Yeah, at moments.
P.S. Twee, that's funny. It says, the Flash is so good, I don't want the season to end. Neither do we.
Neither do we. It is really good, but it'll come back next season. It'll be amazing. But in the comics, Eobard, I never, without like spoiling things, I never really got behind his reasoning to be so mad.
He's a traditional Silver Age villain. Like, he's just there to be a bad guy. Like, a lot of those Silver Age villains didn't have any motivation beyond, screw you, hero.
Yeah, and they try to like kind of flesh it out more, but even when they do, it just becomes more convoluted because it's time travel-y. But with this, it's so good.
Also, Iris finally knows.
Yeah.
knows.
And thankfully, it wasn't like a complicated thing. She was just like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Oh, duh.
Static electricity. Wait a minute. That's also kind of crazy.
It is super crazy.
Thank you. Okay, I was
She got stung by static electricity over a year ago, and now she gets stung by static electricity. Barry?
You know the way, like, a good eye-opener on how to handle a love interest like that is the way iZombie is handling Major. Because he's got his own stuff that he's doing that happens to coincide with what Liv is doing, but it's not dependent on her.
Do you know what pisses me off about that? I feel like if it was a female character and not a male character, they wouldn't do that.
Right?
Yeah.
But but like people that make shows in the future, look at how Major Lillywhite is handled as a love interest.
He's driven. He's got his own shite.
Yeah.
Really?
And Iris is supposed to be a reporter.
She's smart.
Iris should be doing that same stuff.
Sheriff Begane wants us to talk about the Time Vault scene with
no,
Gideon.
I was about to bring
Oh
that
my
up.
gosh!
I know!
Oh my gosh!
How awesome was that?
He's excited.
Flash, the founder of. Hold on a second. No, don't hold on a second.
Yeah.
Let him finish the sentence.
Or a founding member of the Justice League.
WB won't let them say that though yet.
But will
Warner
they?
Brothers
Also, somebody tweeted me a close-up of the article, and it lists Green Arrow.
Yes.
In the article.
In the article, it says Green Arrow, not the Arrow,
not the Arrow,
Green Arrow.
Green Arrow. And also, we find out that the reason it's so fucking easy to break into the Time Vault is apparently Barry invented Gideon.
Yeah.
How? No, the best part is like, Gideon, can you just not tell him that we're here?
Yeah, sure
of
thing.
course. Why?
Why?
Why are
Yeah.
you listening? You made me.
What?
I love moments in shows like that where the character asks the question the audience is thinking. Like,
Yeah.
but wait, why?
Jordan Morrissey says that blew my mind hole.
Okay, so you guys know in the comics, the Flash in future iterations has a computer inside of his suit, like Reverse Flash did in the past when he killed Barry's mom, which is cool. But I never heard a name mentioned, but maybe they said Gideon. But that was cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to tie it in there. God, how's he inventing AI?
Well, again, it's 10 years in the future. We now have confirmation that the Flash was supposed to be in the original, what I assume original timeline, was created 10 years later. Cisco looking at the costume like, oh, I like the brighter red and the white. But wait, if we change the costume, what is it? Like,
yeah, and it was just like a great audience moment, like nerd out, like paradox.
But
crap.
apparently 10 years in the future, and so only 4 years after becoming the Flash, he's fighting Reverse Flash and then gets sent back.
It's complicated. Kendall Price writes, how do you think Reverse Flash taking Eddie, talking... hey, anyone else want to read that?
Hey, how do you... Kendall Price in the chat says, how do you think Reverse Flash talking to Eddie alone, or taking Eddie alone to talk, will affect his relationship with Iris, and will he become a villain now, or keep his dignity as a peacekeeper? I don't think that knowing that your descendant is a bad guy makes you a bad guy.
I don't think so, but...
I think it makes you doubt yourself.
I do feel like they're setting him up to be a villain, but then again, I felt the same way about Tommy Merlin, and then they made me real sad when they killed him in Arrow.
Yeah. Spoilers for 2 years ago.
For 2 years ago. And also, but when the shapeshifter dude, which was used to great effect this episode.
Every man. I loved it. I loved the use of every man.
Because I almost shit myself again when Harrison Wells just got shot, and you're like, what?
What?
Yeah.
But although in that scene was so effective because I assumed every man was Iris in that scene where Iris is all up on Barry just to tell him that she found out stuff that we've known for the whole season.
Right.
You guys expected it. I didn't expect every man to come back at least for maybe 2
Yeah,
minutes.
I was really surprised.
She was just so flirty in that scene that I started thinking that, and then I forgot by that scene, I guess, and it surprised me.
Can we talk about how did Wells get in, and how did the bullet get in to the force
I
field?
think because it was specifically for speedsters.
Yeah, it was for speedsters, and every man was not a speedster.
That tech just exists, that only speedsters couldn't get in.
Of course.
Real quick, Amanda at Fangirl of Everyone says, when the trap in the Flash wasn't the trap we thought it was, #SH Roundup. She felt the same way.
Yeah, it was Wells' trap, and of course, why didn't that occur to them? But maybe he's way ahead of them on all of this.
Wait, no, why didn't we think of that? Why didn't we think about he had a camera watching Barry get struck by lightning. He had a camera at his own house. Someone's like, why? This makes complete sense. For a writer,
ahead of the curve.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's from the future.
Yeah.
He has already planned. He's had 15 years to plan. You've had 6 months.
Yeah.
Yep. He's real smart.
Oh man, really solid episode of The Flash. Really excited for these last 3 episodes.
Yeah. I'm trying to see. I can't. Can you scroll back up in the chat? Someone wrote, "I love how Joe ships Barry and Iris too." Yeah, the cinema kid. How he ships his kids.
So what I was trying to say earlier is when every man was under the cover of Eddie.
Yeah.
That actor as Bad Eddie was so good. It's like I want him to be a bad guy.
I want him to be bad. I feel like they're gonna make him Zoom.
Yes.
Not Professor Zoom, but Zoom.
But Hunter Zolomon is Zoom.
Whatever. Harrison Wells isn't in the comics either, so...
Okay.
Okay.
Eddie Thawne is not in the comics. So.
All right, guys, we got to move on.
Good episode.
To
Arrow, which was... I thought it was a solid episode.
It's a solid episode. I feel like the last 2 episodes have been better, which is more of a testament to how good those episodes are to how...
I just thought that the emotional conflict in this episode of him fighting his team and them grappling with who he's become was great. The end reveal, maybe not the greatest in the world.
I like that more than the rest of the episode.
Really?
I felt this episode, I am 100%, people will complain about the soapy nature of Arrow. I say that if you are a comic book fan, you are in a way a fan of soaps because comic books are soaps with superpowers. That's it.
A serialized drama is a soap.
Yeah.
Soaps invented serialized drama.
So the soapiness of it, I'm for. I felt like everything was just I pitched too dramatic. It was just one level. They went from 10 to they cranked it up to 11. It was just a little bit too dramatic.
The brainwashing kind of happened fast, to make it evil Arrow.
Well, it's like he straight up kills Diggle at the top, which I'm like, oh! And then it's like, by the way, you've been ingesting a plant that makes you crazy for 3 weeks, and now you're brainwashed.
By the way, fuck you, Ra's al Ghul, because you made all these promises that I could do whatever I wanted as the new Ra's al Ghul, and then you brainwashed the shit out of me, so I think just the way you are.
Yeah.
Also, cool reference to Hive. I feel like...
Really on the nose,
yeah, though. But there's a solid... I feel like they're building a solid 5-season arc because the flashbacks obviously take place over 5 years.
Right.
And I'm wondering if Hive's not even going to be the main villain next season, but season 5. They're keep building towards it.
Maybe. I would prefer that's how it works instead of having League of Assassins and then another league essentially for season 4.
Honestly, yeah. I want to see Slade back.
I know.
You
Slade's
won't
awesome.
get Slade. We
I
won't get
know.
Slade.
I know. He's got another job.
We get
now.
baby Slade.
Yeah.
We get somebody else.
Avidesh Ruganan writes, did anyone else want Nissa and Laurel to kiss?
No.
No.
I didn't.
We were
No.
fine with that not happening.
Although
there
if
were
if I were Oliver, if I were brainwashed Oliver, I would not be against being
married to Nissa.
Although
Although she's not into it because she's a lesbian.
I know. She's
That's-
not bi like Sarah was. She's just a straight up lesbian.
I think she's a straight up lesbian.
Yeah.
That's
By the
what
way,
I think.
like what Russell like
He's not progressive. He's not a
No.
progressive.
no,
dad.
but also like I want you to kill my daughter, but never mind. I want to have you marry her.
Yeah.
Wait, so she was carrying around the most deadly toxin in the world in a sword that she was using for battle?
I
Right?
could not care
maybe-
less
maybe
about
she-
the damn Alpha and
I
Omega
don't know, I-
bullshit.
I
It's
think
in there, and
I-
she's like swinging it. And
we
hitting
don't know
people
that's a
with
sword
it.
she's using. It might have been decorative.
All
I don't
right.
know. But it's
All
interesting
right.
that the flashbacks finally matter beyond Tatsu and what's his face's backstory.
Maseo.
Maseo's
Took
backstory.
No, wait, there's 3 episodes left?
Yeah.
Check it
And
out.
it's I want you to nuke your city as the last stance of becoming the next Demon's Head.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
That seems kind of not the deal we made.
No,
Yeah.
not at all, in fact.
Yeah.
Well, he's brainwashed now, so he's just kind of had to get him
Which
in
all the
that
way, which I
door.
get that we're supposed to depict the fact that Oliver's essentially gone.
David Romero in the chat writes, how do you feel about them trying to destroy the city for the 3rd time?
Get used to it every
Get used-
season.
Every season they will
the
try to
city's gonna be
destroy the
threatened.
city.
Let's just hope the city doesn't realize it for once.
Yeah.
They don't know that they're
Well,
on
they
the
realized it at the
Hey.
top of the season. They were like, after 2 terrorist attacks in a row.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. Hopefully, this one takes place more within the Arrow community, and the whole city doesn't like really a 3rd time. Like, hopefully, the city doesn't know it's a 3rd
Yeah,
time.
Right, because that's
Which, by the way, it
credibility.
kind of be a 4th time with the whole brick
Oh,
fiasco.
yeah, in the
They
middle of
need
this
to
season.
up their security, their
Or
police. Like,
something.
if your police
Why would anyone
can't
still
handle
live
this,
there?
But it is. While I know, again, like I was saying, I know Oliver's supposed to be essentially gone. Is there the same thing as Hawkeye? No. He was invented way before Hawkeye. But it's a kind of a bummer that he doesn't have, like, if the Oliver we knew was still the Oliver we knew, just bad, they wouldn't be able to stop him.
Yeah.
Because he's proven so tactical. And I feel like that is kind of a missed opportunity, because how cool would it be if they realized, like, oh, to stop him, we need to get Slade off the island to stop. Like, we need to
Again,
resort, we need to
won't
get that.
Slade,
I know,
though.
but how
We
cool
won't
would
get
that be?
Slade. It would be cool. These are
And
cool
also,
ideas.
how badass was Theo shooting
I
Arthur?
was about
Yeah,
to bring
we
that
got
up.
we got a tweet about that. Justine at Justine Cashew writes, I really loved Thea shooting Ollie in the wrist. That was pretty badass.
No, it's the way it was executed that it was just silent. There wasn't like a build-up. It was just like he was about to kill Diggle and
Boom. And then Oliver, like, boom, boom.
Boom.
And also, you know,
walks away.
Yeah. I
Walks
like
away.
Merlin's like, no, I won't. Oliver wouldn't want you involved. She's like, I need your help to kill him. Okay.
All right.
I'm into you doing this stuff.
Brian Scalabrini in the chat writes, how does Laurel get her ass kicked by a mugger, but she can take on 2 League Warriors?
Good question.
That's a great question. Thank you for writing.
I'm kind of a little bit like, at this point we can quit with the Laurel being a shitty fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just say, come on, she's been training
By
with
Wildcat
Nissa.
and Nissa,
She
she's
should be
fine.
okay by now.
Which,
I know
by
she's
the
not
way,
naturally gifted at it, but
what happened to Wildcat?
he might be dead. He might
I
be
thought I
dead.
could have sworn he got arrested or
No,
something.
he got the shit beat out of him.
He
and
got
didn't
beat up
come back.
by Brick, and then we never saw him again.
Oh, and I know that the Canary Cry was really cool when it was introduced in the Flash, and being used in the show was kind of cool. But seeing her scream without like the sound waves, like in the comics and the animated series, does not make that cool.
But then again, I don't want them to use sound waves if it looks like the waves used in Powers.
True.
See, I liked it. I thought she looked great when she did it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it because like there's no other way to do it because like you can't like really hype it up a lot.
But I'm really stoked with what Arrow's doing. I like what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Sean Jackson writes, what do you guys think about Katana in her full costume in the
See
preview?
the
You didn't see it?
preview.
I didn't
Go
see
look
the
at it
preview.
later.
Okay,
Yeah.
go look at it later. That's
I
very
watch
cool.
my shows on Hulu, and they don't have the
I
preview.
know.
But if you go to their YouTube channel, CW's YouTube channel,
That sounds
We'll
like
check
a
that out.
second thing that I'd have to do. And I'm not crazy about that.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to do news and pull list real quick?
quick.
Yeah.
So we can
Real
get to
quick.
Avengers.
Real quick, guys, we're not trying to blow through this on purpose. It's just we want to be able to talk about Avengers,
Sit on Avengers.
and really
It
sit
just just kind of sucks that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Flash had two of their best episodes this week.
Yeah, sorry, Misha Van Barnveld. Wildcat got released into the wild.
I wish that sentence ended with got released in the wild. ... Cat. Wink. News this week. I think the biggest thing. Well, we didn't talk about Joker. Oh shit, Joker.
We didn't talk about Joker.
We didn't talk, that happened Friday. I got a lot of heat. I'm fine with it. I sent out a tweet that made it sound like I loved it. I think it's fine. Joker is the most transformative villain. I'm a huge fan of Batman's Grant Morrison run, and a big part of every time he writes Joker is that Joker decides what he's going to be, transforms into that psychologically, and he changes the tone of whatever he's in.
Really quick.
So in this, based on everything I've heard about the Suicide Squad movie, if you didn't think Joker was going to be jacked and tatted up, you weren't paying attention, in my opinion.
They did say, though, that a lot of those tats aren't going to be in the movie because they saw there was a rumor that went out that said this. Sorry, but like they looked at him on set and he doesn't have all those
but those are super
things.
blurry pictures with him wearing clothes that even if he had the tats, you would not be able to see. Guys, he's gonna have the tats.
The only one that I'm ambivalent about, like, here's the thing. I love the look of it, and I love the way that you can really defend most of those choices. Like the cap teeth. This Batman wears a robot suit and is dark as hell. Of course he punched his teeth out and he needs caps. The tattoos and shit. Look, people are gonna get mad because it's revisionist and it's not the same one. People felt the same way that when they saw Heath Ledger's Joker before we actually saw it in motion, when we just saw a photo of it. Like the first photo released was like gross and stupid. But I like the tats. The dude is insane. Joker is a crazy person. And the only one that I'm ambivalent about is the damaged on his forehead. But at the same time, that's also the best one.
For me, it's the skull gesture one because it to use a term that we use around the office, it looks basic. It looks like. But then again, if it's the Joker, would he really get well thought out, artful tattoos? No,
exactly.
He's fucking around.
No, like man, he has a lot of upkeep on tattoos. Like that's a lot of lotion. That's a lot of touch-ups. That's a lot of work, Joker.
Especially with the fine skin he has. Also, like this Suicide Squad movie is probably going to be the Fast and Furious of superhero movies. Of course, Joker's going to be tatted to the knife. Like it makes sense for this movie. And again, like if for one thing, because this is supposed to take place 15 years after Batman's been doing his thing. The next Batman movie we get could be earlier in the timeline before Superman's around, and he might not have those tattoos.
That's interesting.
I mean, but basically, lighten up. Joker will look different in the next movie.
Also, for Suicide Squad news, there's the Will Smith picture in costume.
Yeah,
not
in
Deadshot.
Not a Deadshot
costume. Just him.
He looks like a 70s pimp.
He does, which is actually I think works for Deadshot. The only thing that we actually have a picture of it, and I think in the picture we have. You'll see there's a little girl next to him with a Barbie, and I'm hoping it's supposed to be his daughter, because I don't need Deadshot to be a family man. Arrow tried that, and I was like, you know what? I kind of like my Deadshot not being tied down to things.
It's gonna be his daughter, dude.
And I hope because then it's probably gonna be that like I know you have a family, but you need to go do this one last job. And it's like Deadshot doesn't need to be your average.
One last job will be said once.
Clearly.
One last job.
There's also you were talking about some other casting rumors for Suicide Squad.
Yes, we talked about how Common could possibly be making a cameo as Green Lantern because we want there will be Jon Stewart, but we didn't know if it was going to be Common or not. But then there was another rumor that came out that he could be Black Manta.
Which would be great.
Because we were also setting up the Aquaman movie.
Cool.
Yeah, he would be an awesome Black Manta. Go look up Black Manta on Wikipedia. Just read about him a little bit. He is so
Black
cool.
Manta is one of my favorite villains.
He's crazy.
It's one of the rare situations where like the
that?
villain is cooler than just because he's got the cool tech. He's got a cool look. It's something about the character, and it's funny. Like when you think about it, I feel like even though it seems difficult, the Aquaman movie should be kind of a no-brainer because it's basically Aragorn versus Darth Vader underwater.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's your movie pitch.
I can't separate Black Manta from the Super Friends version of Black Manta, so it's hard for me to invest.
Yeah, I don't. Back in Young Justice, and he was called Devil Ray in Justice League, but something about maybe it's just
Devil
his
Ray's
look is just really cool. Yeah. Anyway, and Common would be great as him.
Really quick for Iron Fist, possibly Ryan Phillippe is in talks with Marvel and Netflix to play something, and I really hope it is not Iron Fist.
I don't think he'd be good for that. They need to cast somebody that can actually.
What if he's playing the villain in Luke Cage?
That'd be great.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know much about Luke Cage.
Yeah, I don't know what villain they're gonna go with for that.
Yeah.
Shit, I thought there was something else we need to talk. Oh, also, people were freaking out at the Deadshot picture. There was a guy in a mask or whatever, and they thought, like, is it Deadshot in costume? Even though it doesn't look. It was a fan that dressed up and was trying to get on set. It was escorted away by security.
For God's sake, people.
Yeah. So that's that.
For news.
Yeah.
Is that all our news?
That's all I got.
Okay, I'm gonna muscle through the pull list real quick. Last week was a huge week. Big news about Batman. There's a news story that Sam did on it. You can watch about that. This Saturday is actually Free Comic Book Day. We have a thing on Free Comic Book Day. A bunch of Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Image Comics are all releasing free comic books. Go to your comic book shop. Usually they allow you like a 2 to 3 comic limit. DC's releasing an issue talking about its Divergence stuff, which is the stuff that's going to be happening after its Convergence plotline. Cool. There's a sneak peek at Secret Wars. There's the first issue of all new, all different Avengers from Marvel is going to be available on Free Comic Book
Is the
Day.
name actually All New, All Different?
Yes.
Wait, that's the one with Miles Morales, right?
Yes, cool. That is the one with Miles Morales.
All New, All Different Avengers?
Yes,
They're
and
running out of
also
titles.
Chuck Palahniuk is writing a sequel to Fight Club as a comic book.
Oh.
And an issue that will be part of Dark Horse. I believe it's Dark Horse's previews. It'll be there. It'll be on the shelves of Free Comic Book Day. So check that out. It's really cool. It's really sometimes people dress in costumes and stuff like that. It's a fun event. Go to your local comic book shop to check that out. Next week, big news: Batman Earth 1 Volume 2 is getting released. It's written by Jeff Johns and drawn by Gary Frank. Batman Earth 1 is one of my favorite Batman stories ever. It's really good. Jeff Johns did a good job with it. I highly recommend checking out the sequel. Convergence, the main Convergence plotline continues. It's not that great, but you pick up Convergence: The Question because it's Greg Rucka continuing writing Renee Montoya as The Question. Highly recommend that. Descender, written by Jeff Lemire and drawn by Dustin Nguyen, is coming out. It's a fun sci-fi. If you like Star Wars, if you like Star Trek, check out Descender. And the first issue of Secret Wars from Marvel.
But that's that. Yeah, I thought that starts on Saturday.
Written by I think it's a sneak peek that's available on Free Comic Book Day, and the actual comic is being released on Wednesday of next week.
Cool.
Great.
Very cool. Now,
let's talk about Age of Ultron. But let's first.
Excuse me. Marvel's The Avengers
Age of Ultron
2 Reckoning.
Yeah. Yes. So let's just start really quick. Basic thoughts on the movie, spoiler free for those who haven't seen it. Personally, I really enjoyed it. Not my favorite Marvel film.
Yes.
But considering everything that they had to do in this movie, setting up future films, giving everyone plot points and a kind of an arc, having lots of action and humor, I thought they did an amazing job putting it all together. I think some of the fight scenes are some of the best action scenes that they've ever done in a Marvel film, and a couple of really nice big laughs. And James Spader, great. He's fantastic.
Overall, good movie. It's a good movie.
Yes.
When you leave, I don't think you'll be mad. You will not be mad. You'll enjoy it. You'll be entertained.
I'd like to see somebody just.
I'm so mad. I'm so mad at this. No, it's super entertaining. The fight is great. All the new characters, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, and Vision. That's not spoilers, okay? They were great. They were amazing. No matter what scene they were in, I was a little nervous for Aaron Taylor Johnson because I like Quicksilver, so I was nervous.
But you were nervous that he would suck?
That he would suck. He was. They were all amazing, and James Spader as Ultron was cool. I just wish he was used a little bit more.
I agree with everything you guys are saying. It was an enjoyable movie. It was a good movie. I think Joss Whedon is a badass, and I am excited to see whatever he does next. I think the first Avengers is better.
I would agree with you. It's a better movie overall.
Think this movie kind of shows some of the things that we were afraid the first Avengers would have.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Nervous
I'm going to read.
Also, Hawkeye was great.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to read this tweet. We're going to get into kind of like a spoiler review of the film, and then we're going to talk about, I think that point especially, about how this movie might reflect future Marvel films and things we're nervous about. All right. So Jordan Elizabeth at Jordan Elizabeth says, Age of Ultron was great overall. Humor was on point. Small thing, felt like the characters didn't fill out as they went. Now, reports say that Joss Whedon cut out over an hour, or just about an hour of footage out of this movie.
Imagine that. A whole 60 minutes.
An extra 60 minutes of character development.
I feel like that's Joss Whedon wanting to keep his movie tight, which I respect. One of my favorite superhero, one of the a couple summers ago, one of my favorite superhero movies of that summer was The Wolverine because it kept things tight.
It was really tight.
Yeah, and I like it because superhero movies have kind of whatever.
Bloated.
People would have sat through that hour.
I would have. Oh my God, I wouldn't have cared. I wouldn't have peed. I would have just sat there and pissed myself. I would have watched the whole thing. Sam has a point.
See,
Sam has a point.
I did have to pee during the movie, and I ran out at just the perfect time. Right
at the boring part.
No, just as the Hulkbuster fight wound down.
Yeah.
Just after it ended, and then I got back just before they got to the house.
Okay.
So it was
There
like
you go.
I just missed a
a great
conversation
feat.
about where to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A safe house. Anyway, which is it safe if you're a fan? Wait, can we
do
go on a
spoilers.
spoiler now?
Yeah.
It is
So
spoiler
if you
alert.
haven't seen the movie, turn this off. Don't
But
get
come
mad
back
at
after
us
you've seen the
because
movie.
you didn't turn it off.
Because here's the thing. Listen,
Turn it
there
off.
was some few assholes that went out of their way in the comments and on Twitter to try and spoil things for people. And listen, I'm sorry none of your friends went to go see the Avengers with you. It's because you're a cunt. All right? And
Jesus.
spoiler for you.
I mean, it's true.
People are agreeing.
Spoiler for you. That little feeling you have deep down inside
But they're
that
agreeing
nobody
with Sam.
nobody loves you. That feeling deep down inside that nobody loves you is true, and you will die sad and alone unless you figure out a better personality for yourself.
Yeah.
Don't go out of your way to spoil things for people. That said, spoilers.
Yeah.
I'm mad.
Yeah, and I don't like it when people tweet me about Arrow on Wednesday because I don't watch it until Thursday.
No, that's an accident. That's an
Okay.
accident. These is people. It's like if
They
you
do it on purpose
it's-
just
it's-
because they're sad.
It's like when a kid's making a sandcastle and that other kid comes up just to step on it. Listen, we all know the sandcastle doesn't matter, but that joy you took away from the kid, that you're a bad
That's
person.
the thing about like our.
You're a bad person.
It's the thing about these superhero things. Like people are like, "What? It's just superheroes. Let me talk about the thing." And like you guys don't care about it. It's like no. We care about it to a as much as you could
we know it's
care
a
about this
movie and it
fake
doesn't
thing.
matter.
Yeah.
But don't just be a jerk and try and spoil it for people.
Yeah.
okay.
Anyway, whatever.
All right.
All right, and
Okay.
I accidentally spoiled something before for Guardians of the Galaxy, and no one will ever let me leave it down, ever.
Because
ever
you
in my-
ruined it.
I
You
didn't.
ruined the
I
movie.
ruined one thing.
Again,
All right?
accident.
And
Again,
it was
accident.
And that was an honest
Okay.
mistake.
Rick Casas at Ricky Needs TP writes, it was fantastic. The mise en scene, the characters, comedic timing, action, and Ultron. One of the best villains so far. Let's talk about Ultron.
Let's talk about Ultron.
Hey,
All
that's
right.
our segment. Talk about Ultron.
Ultron.
All right.
I think Ultron has the DNA, has the components of being a great villain. There's elements there that could be very interesting. And like a lot of things in this movie, it is not really explored.
Yeah.
Can either of you tell me why Ultron, A, hates the Avengers, and B, wants to wipe out humanity?
Sam?
Man, I want to pass this to you.
Okay. I will put on my devil's advocate hat and I will totally explain it to you. One, he was created to be a curtain of armor around the world.
Yes, with you on that.
One thing that ruined the world, people, which is why he wants to get rid of all people. Why does he hate the Avengers, you may be asking? He was invented by Mr. Tony Stark, and he adopts many of his qualities, including the fact that he makes jokes.
Yes.
Okay? Tony hates himself. Tony hates himself. Ultron hates himself, too.
What led you to believe that in the movie?
Nothing. I came up with that by myself to make myself feel better about the fact that his plot didn't make any sense.
It did not make not sense.
I
right?
do like.
Sam has a point.
Well, no, but like that's the crazy thing. Is like I really like the character and I was entertained by what happened, but it didn't make any sense.
I feel like there's a very powerful truth and a very cool character at the core of Ultron that the movie does not have the time. If honestly,
Yeah,
like
that's the whole problem.
literally,
That's
the
the whole problem.
second Ultron appears, he fucks up Jarvis.
Yeah.
He shows up, threatens the Avengers, action scene, and he's off the races.
Julian Lopez actually puts it into perspective. Ultron used the internet for 5 minutes and saw all of us. That made him the decision to kill everyone.
But his
Really?
goal,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
goal, no, but his goal, he was created, like you said, to be an arm around the planet. So but to protect
The planet.
us, So how does that translate into us saving us? It's
because
not.
he
It's
saw
not us saving,
trolls
but it's
on
not.
the
But it's not
internet.
us saving us from himself. Suddenly it becomes an evolution thing. He talks about evolution a lot. One thing I did like about Ultron is that he constantly, in reference to what he's trying to do, uses biblical references, which was a great way to not like have him outright say that he sees himself as God. But again, like I feel like it would have benefited from if Ultron existed and Tony had interacted with him a little bit before he decides to go straight up villain.
I got an explanation for you from Andre Fernandez, because Earth. He's Ultron.
So I think I feel like if like a lot of things in this movie, if it had been able to spend a little less time on maybe action sequences and flashback sequences that didn't tell us anything we didn't already know, it might have shown us parts of Ultron that would have made it interesting, because Marvel's one of the things. I think it's very telling that most of the fights in any Avengers movie is the heroes fighting each other, because they're the interesting characters. Marvel does not. In my opinion, there's only 3 interesting Marvel villains.
Kingpin.
No.
Kingpin.
Because again, Kingpin, tell me, when he says, I want to make the city a better place, what do you think he sees in his mind? What does that mean to Kingpin?
That he has money and power.
There you go.
They never once explained what a better city means to Kingpin.
He did.
So for me, the best Marvel villains are Loki, which is why he's in so many movies.
Yeah.
Ward, shockingly, and actually Vanessa from Daredevil. I think she's Vanessa Fisk. I think she's a more compelling bad guy than Wilson is.
Devin Bell writes in the chat, he wants to kill us before we kill ourselves. Duh, LOL. And Langley M. Neely says, it was peace in our time, DJ.
But again, that's explained away as like a glitch, because we don't have time in the movie to like really dive into character development.
Oh, because it's moving so fast, we don't have any time?
Oh, wait. Then there's one right there that I can't read the username. Ultron didn't want to destroy the world. He wanted to strengthen humanity, force humans to evolution, but the Avenger forced his hand, so he tried to destroy them. Is that
Which
what happened?
I think that's the best explanation, but the fact that we're even asking what happened shows that the movie did not do the best job that it could have.
Yeah.
Because at least Loki, his desire was vengeance against Thor. It was primal, it was simple to understand, and he was you throw in a little bit of crazy.
With high emotional stakes.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's all you need. And honestly, I think this movie might have been better if it said, hey, listen, we get the core Avengers, Hulk, Cap, Iron Man, and Thor. They have their own movies. We don't need to flash back into their deep emotions, because we already get them, and focused more on who the new Avengers, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, which were also villains for half the movie, Hawkeye, and Ultron, ultimately leading to some character development for the Vision.
Hannah Hodges in the chat, scroll down.
I am nonsense.
We had it. Can you explain how Ultron was actually defeated if he can live and move through the internet?
No.
The Vision
cut him off.
Cut him off from the internet.
Obviously,
he grabbed him by the face, and he, the mountain in Game of Thrones, except instead of squishing his eyes, he squished out the internet.
By the way, can we talk a little bit about the new Avengers?
I like that.
I hate Quicksilver as a character in the comics. Great in X-Men Days of Future Past. Great in this movie.
Yep.
Scarlet Witch is really. I like Elizabeth Olsen a lot.
I have a crush on her now. I didn't have a crush on her in Godzilla.
Even though I like the Vision a lot, I thought he was really cool. And again, I wish maybe if we made this more of an Avengers 2.0, where you see these guys start out as bad guys and then figure out how they form their own part of the Avengers, we would have been more invested in them. And because all 3 of those characters connect to the villain, it would have helped us understand the villain more. Maybe.
Sorry, I don't even understand fully why Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch worked with Ultron. I still don't. I mean, they kind of explain it barely.
Because, well, it's not quite explained how he contacted them, but they signed up with Hydra because they blamed Tony Stark for the terrible state of their country.
Which was that was an effective scene when they talked about the bomb with Stark on it.
Yeah.
That made perfect sense why they hated it.
Immediately. And like there wasn't a ton of time to give them a ton of character development. That was a great way to explain their motivation.
Yeah.
I just wish that there was more. Like I didn't really get invested in them until the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Once they switched sides, I could start getting invested in them. When with the train.
But again, and the switching sides was so, oh, you want to destroy the world? Cool. Which I guess you would. I mean, I guess there wouldn't be a lot of. But
there's been a lot of thought.
But all this time about hating the Avengers to go from hating them to be like, yeah, we're pretty cool with you. Let's do this thing.
Right.
They didn't back up Tony Stark though. They backed up Captain America, which was probably easier. That's a probably easier guy to get behind.
Yeah. I mean, sure, but
I don't know.
But
I mean,
again,
that's just
I
one
like the
excuse.
actors and I like the actors in role, and I liked how they use their powers, even though their basic explanation for Scarlet Witch's powers, my understanding of the powers is it's weird.
It's
weird. And it's basically whatever you need it to be.
Except what it is affecting probability.
No, that's what it is in the comics. But
Which
like,
that is what it is.
Doesn't even make sense,
probability?
really.
No,
Yes,
yeah,
it
it does.
is.
No, it's hexes. All right,
Well,
I did a
anyway.
video on this that went up this morning, and you can go read and watch it.
You should.
All right, it was a lot of fun to make, but it's affecting probability. Basically, she can alter the probability of a villain losing.
Yeah.
So, and she can read it and make it happen.
But Vision actually had my favorite scene in the whole movie when he's confronting the last Ultron droid, and it reminded me a lot of Man of Steel, like when Zod at the end talks about how
I have no purpose.
And suddenly at the very end, right before he's killed, he becomes interesting. And this final scene between Ultron and Vision, suddenly Ultron becomes super interesting, and their dialogue, it's like, where was that the rest of this movie? And I feel like maybe
In the hour that got cut out, DJ.
maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe if you cut an action sequence. And maybe again,
you can't cut an action
Not from a
sequence.
Marvel
Kids like
movie.
action sequences.
But again, to not sound like a negative Nancy, because I did enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
Josh, everything people ask me like, oh man, I can't watch this movie because I haven't seen every Marvel movie. No, all you really need to watch is the first Avengers.
My girlfriend didn't even see that, and she loved this
Joss
movie.
Whedon did a very
Yeah.
good job of seeding. If a character showed up at the end, which by the way, Falcon should have totally been in that scene with War Machine. Why the fuck wasn't he there? But anyway, if they brought in a side character like that last cool shot with this sub Avengers, I guess.
The new Avengers.
The
all new, all different Avengers.
All those characters appeared earlier in the movie, so you didn't need to see the other ones to kind of get an idea of their relationships or whatever. And all the ideas, the Thor's hammer sequence actually played into us learning to trust Vision. And it seemed it was spoiled.
Oh yes. Oh, by the way, the two spoilers: the death and Vision picking up the hammer.
Which I wasn't spoiled, and I was delighted by that.
Yeah, I wonder
laughed
why.
so hard. But I want to hear your favorite part of the movie, Sam.
Oof.
What was your favorite part of the movie? Then I'm going to say my favorite part.
All right, favorite part
And then
has
we're
to
gonna read some
be.
tweets.
It's after Hawkeye. It's Hawkeye's speech to Scarlet Witch. That scene leading up to like she goes out.
That
there.
was a great
She
scene.
kicks ass and she's like tearing apart all the Ultron drones and whatever.
Yeah.
And then Quicksilver shows up, picks up Scarlet Witch, takes her away, and then you're left with like the idea, the basis of the sketch that we did, that Hawkeye can't get around anywhere, and he's like he pulls the arrow and he's like, nobody know.
Yeah.
Nobody know. And then he starts running because he has to run. Like he gets a car, I think, later, but like that's amazing.
Yeah.
And Hawkeye was so good.
Hawkeye's the best character in
Also,
this movie.
Best line,
maybe.
the really cool scene when they did the fight in South Africa, when they did the arrow to Scarlet Witch's head. And he's like, I've been brainwashed before. I don't like it.
Yeah,
And
they
like,
did a lot of. This was a very apologetic movie to Hawkeye. Like,
Yeah.
listen, I know you didn't
I
get a
feel
lot
like
in
Joss
movie
Whedon
one.
made some promises. He was like, listen, I know you're not getting anything in this, but you're going to get it. Okay, we're going to read this comment, and then I'm going to say my favorite part of the movie. Sham Man wants to know, did you like Andy Serkis's role in the film as Ulysses Claw? Thought he did a great job.
Yeah, Andy
Solid.
Serkis kind of amazes me because every time he's in a movie, he's not Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
he
he's
completely
whoever that person
Completely
is.
different
Yeah.
person. He's
Yeah.
an incredible actor. He should have won an Oscar for The Two Towers. I'll say it 1,000 times. He should have won an Oscar for The Two Towers.
He was great.
No discriminates. What was your favorite part of the movie?
Yeah.
My favorite part of the movie is a very, very small part of the movie. It's that shot of after Hulk shuts off the conversation with Natasha in the Quinjet, and it's just a poetic moment as he sails quietly off to wherever.
Yep.
That, to me, easily the best part of the movie.
and a
I'll
very
t-
Hulk moment.
Very beautiful Hulk moment, very poetic. Because here's the thing: the movie, it's chock full of good stuff, but it's noisy as hell. It's just nonstop stuff, and like that opening sequence. As much as I enjoyed it and how cool it was as an action sequence, there's just so much shit going on, and I'm just sort of like, calm down. It's like I said it before the broadcast. It's like going to a Mars Volta concert. It's so noisy that I almost want to leave. So like having this like very beautiful quiet moment juxtaposed against the rest of that, beautiful, brilliant.
Quick note, I also forgot my other favorite thing was when Quicksilver tried to grab Thor's hammer out of the air when he's going super fast.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he gets
He
yanked
gets
back.
yanked
That
back.
was
That was
amazing.
cool.
But also, I know you can notice very clearly when scenes get a second to breathe like that, like he sat, didn't transform down, he just sat there. And then when Hawkeye is asked, where are we going? A safe house. There's at least 3 seconds of nothing happening. and then cuts to something else. I'm like, whoa.
I think you brought up a good point that it's filled with good stuff, but it doesn't have a lot of the best stuff from the first movie. Because I asked you guys before this started, what were your favorite moments from the first Avengers fight scenes?
No.
And neither of you, like, Sam may have liked one from the first movie. There was a fight. The fight scenes are good. Yeah. It's just the best scenes are when the characters are interacting.
Yeah.
And this didn't have a lot of that.
No, from the first movie when Hulk starts talking about how he's a time bomb, that's great.
But for obviously I just told you my favorite scene, but I also really respected the fact that the last like 20 or 30 minutes wasn't as focused on let's beat the bad guy as it was let's save people. Let's do some actual hero things.
That was to me was a conscious decision. I feel like they had a fucking meeting after Man of Steel came out, and so many people were pissed off, and like, hey, they fucking destroyed the city, and they didn't save anybody, he's not a hero, fuck this movie. And they were like, we need to save a lot of people in this movie. We need to save a whole city
in 5 minutes.
The only way that we can get away with destroying stuff is if we save a lot of people in this movie.
And there's even a moment of that in the movie because when Cap is trying to stop that truck with the Vision in it, there's a lot of cars flipping and people that you know die, and it's
Joss Whedon loves flipping cars. He flipped 8 cars in the first Avengers. God knows how many cars he flipped in this.
But it's followed by that train sequence where they have to save because every superhero movie needs a train sequence.
Yes.
What did you guys real quickly? I know we're running out of time. Black Widow Hulk relationship.
We got a tweet about that. Jordan Hounslow at J Hounslow 92 says, "I really enjoyed Age of Ultron, but didn't like the Banner Romanoff relationship. It was a bit too forced."
No, it was. I did not find it forced at all. I loved it. I thought it was great. Those are 2 characters I'd love to see together.
I think it's like Ultron. The genetics of it are solid. If it had given more time to breathe, maybe I would have bought it more.
That scene though, when he gets out of the shower and there's that Gillette ad in the middle. But like, when they're talking to each other, the sterilization is a little forced. It's like a little like, whoa, man. Okay, I know what happened. Maybe don't like say it like, but it's tragic. But I love that scene. I love that.
That was a great dialogue. The first scene was a little sudden, and then Cap giving him the old like, you know, buddy, blah blah blah. Like, actually, you know what? It was just that part. It was just the scene with Cap where he's like, you know, you should really take the chance while you got it. I'm Captain America. Buy war bond.
but I desperately want a Black Widow movie. Scarlett Johansson would be a great headliner, and part of me really wants it because I think her supporting character should be Charlie Cox's Daredevil. Anyway, that's it. That's
cool. That would be way cool. Yeah, I like their relationship, and also if they should do a Black Widow movie because like they cast freaking Julie Delpy as the woman at the Russian ballet training place as her handler.
Did you guys like to imagine that was Dottie from Agent Carter? I like to imagine that was Dottie from Agent Carter.
It was Julie
For
Delpy.
For the people who watched that.
Okay. But it was Julie Delpy, and she's an incredible actress and director. You don't cast her for a throwaway role.
Yeah. Ryan Balls wants us to discuss the end credit sequence. It was garbage. It was the worst.
Okay, well, it was garbage is a heavy word. Well, no, a lot of heavy words you're saying.
It was basically the same end sequence as the last movie. It's Thanos going like, hey,
except half as long.
Except half as long. Like, I guess each movie from here on out should have a sequence of Thanos like getting there. Apparently, each step of him getting to Earth is something we need to see.
We should do another taxi cab sequence, taxi cab sketch, except it's Thanos, and I'm driving like a space taxi.
Your end credit sequence.
How great would it have been?
Can I be Thanos?
Yeah. I would love it if you were Thanos.
Okay, so Howard the Duck was at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy. If Squirrel Girl, just for no reason, Squirrel Girl is the best Marvel hero ever. If she was just in there and like she just was like watching instead of Spider-Man, like they pan out in New York and you're like, and it's Squirrel Girl.
It bothers me that
was there Spider-Man?
No,
it wasn't anything.
It was a leaked. It was somebody.
It was a fake.
It was a fake. It bothers me that the fake end credit Caesar is better than the one that was actually in the movie.
Mm-hmm. One little discrepancy thing in the first Thor movie when they're going around that vault where all like the weapons are. Yeah. The Infinity Gauntlet is there. But
I
now
saw a report somewhere. Apparently, I don't know.
Apparently someone in the chat was like, here, Swader12 writes, there's 2 gauntlets. The one he picked up is right-handed, and in Asgard, it's left-handed. Why are there 2 gauntlets?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't buy
know.
that.
I don't
Sorry,
care.
man. I don't buy that.
It's the same. Like we've already seen. Like there's nothing exciting about it. Like cool.
I'll do it myself. So he's gonna be in more movies. Like,
Whatever.
I hope in Civil War you just seem like.
Okay, we've gotten this question a few times, I think, from the same guy. So let's address it. Falco 4077 says, "I want to know what you guys think of the ending scene where the new Avengers assemble, Falcon, Scarlet Witch, etc. Could this be a setup for something with the Avengers West Coast?"
No, because it's still in New York.
It's still in New York?
But I think it's clearly a setup for Civil War.
Yeah.
And these guys will be like the guys in the beginning of Infinity Wars. There we go. That's what I was trying to get out of my mouth.
All right, guys, we got to wrap up this show. I want to thank you so much for joining us this week on Superhero Roundup. And if you haven't checked it out yet, you should go check out the latest sketch that we did here on SourceFedNERD. I think it's called Black Widow and Hawkeye Worst Avengers, and
we
it's
know they're
very,
not,
very
but,
funny.
You know they're not, and you should also go check out the Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch Origins thing that I did. I'm very proud of it. Please watch it.
So if you're listening to this on iTunes, go to youtube.com/SourceFedNerd to check those out. Be sure to come back every Thursday at 4 p.m. to watch this show live, or listen to it on iTunes, watch it on YouTube, upvote and subscribe on YouTube, rate and review on iTunes. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Matt Lieberman.
I'm Sam Basher.
And I'm DJ Wooldridge.
And
we
see you next week.
We liked Avengers, okay?
We liked it. We're not haters.
We liked it.
We just have opinions, and Sam has points.
Sam has points. Yeah, Joss Whedon's great. I'm excited to see whatever he does next.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody else could have done a better job with it.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Hard movie to make.
Yep.
Sam, what did you think of the album I gave you, the West Coast Avengers? I don't know. Okay, bye.